Hey, fourth graders. So we have made it. We have finally reached the end of our book. We have just a few chapters to read today, and we get to find out now that Ivan is at the zoo, now that he's met all of these different gorillas, how did he respond? How did they respond to him? What happened with um, the girl gorilla that he was romancing, even though he said romance was exhausting. Um, so we are going to jump right in. We'll finish reading. If you're using the paper copy of the book like this one, it starts on page 286. If you are using the PDF, the online version, it starts on page 186, and we're reading to the very end of the book. So here we go. More about romance. This is chapter 147, and it's page 286 in the paper copy. Page 186 online. I wish Bob were here. I could use some advice. I tried to recall all the romance movies we watched together. I remember the talking, the hugging, the face licking. I'm not very good at this, but it's fun trying. Grooming. Is there anything sweeter than the touch of another as she pulls a dead bug from your fur? If you remember back when Ivan very first went to the Big Top Mall, when he's remembering first getting to the Big Top Mall, he said there was something he missed so much, and it was to feel another gorilla groom him. And we see that the female gorilla that he has met is now grooming Ivan. Talk. Gorillas aren't chatty. He said that before. Humans and chimpanzees waste words. Gorillas aren't chatty, like humans. They're not prone to gossip or tell bad jokes. But now and again we swap a story under the sun. One day it's my turn. I tell my troop. He calls the new group of gorillas his troop. He has asserted himself as the silverback leader, the silverback gorilla of this group. I tell my troop about Mac and Ruby and Bob and Stella and Julia and George, about my mother and father and sister. When I am done, they look away silent. Can you imagine being a gorilla that lives in a zoo and never having really been anywhere but the zoo? And then have this new gorilla come in to be your leader, and he's got these fantastic stories of elephants and dogs and living like a person. Be a crazy story for these other gorillas, right? Kenyani, that's the female gorilla, Kenyani moves closer. Her shoulder brushes mine, and we let the sun soak into our fur together. The top of the hill. I've explored every nook and cranny of this place, except for a hill at the far end where workers have been repairing a wall. They're finally gone. They've left behind fresh white brick and a mound of black dirt. While the others laze in the morning sun, I want to explore the hilltop. They've been there before, and I have not. Everything is still fresh to my eyes. I take my time going uphill, savoring the feel of grass on my knuckles. The breeze carries the shouts of children and the drowsy hum of bumblebees. Near the top of the hill is a low-limbed tree, the kind my sister would have loved. The wall is endless, clean and white, stretching far down to the habitats beyond my own. These are not cages. These are habitats, or homes. It's high and wide, carefully built to keep us in and others out. So maybe it is a cage. He says this is, after all, still a cage. Much bigger than the cage at Big Top Mall. and maybe happier for him because he's not alone. It rained last night, and a pile of dirt is soft to the touch. Soft dirt makes what when it gets wet? What was his name before he came to Big Top Mall? Mud! I scoop up a handful and breathe in the loamy or the earthy smell. It's a rich brown color, heavy and cool in my palm. And the wall waits like an endless blank billboard. He's comparing that wall to a billboard. What do you think he's going to use that mud to do on this blank billboard? He's gonna paint with mud. The wall. It's a big wall, but it's a big pile of dirt, and I'm a big artist. I slap handfuls of mud on the warm cement. I make a handprint. I tap my nose with my muddy finger. I make a nose print. I slide my palms up and down. The mud is thick and hard to use, but I keep moving and scooping and spreading. I don't know what I'm making, but I don't care. I make swoops and swirls and thick lines, figures and shapes, light and shadow. I'm an artist at work. When I'm done, I step back to admire my work, but it's a large canvas and I'd like to get a better view. I go to the thick-limbed tree and grab the lowest branch. I try to swing my legs. Oomph! I land hard. I'm too big to climb, I suppose. I try again anyway, and this time I pull myself onto the first limb, gasping for breath. One more limb. 2. And I can't go any farther. Perched halfway up the tree, I see my troop still dozing contentedly. They're just lazily, happily laying in the sun. I take in the wall, splattered and splashed with mud. Not much color, but lots of movement. I like it. It feels dreamy and wild, like something Julia might have made. From my seat in the tree, I can see beyond the wall. I see giraffes and hippos. I see deer with legs like delicate twigs. I see a bear dozing or snoozing in a hollow log. I see elephants. Oh, elephants! Who do you think he might see? Safe. She's far away, belly deep in tall grass with others by her side. Ruby. She's here, Stella, I whisper. Ruby's safe, just like I promised. I call to Ruby, but the wind tugs at my words, and I know she'll never hear me. Still, Ruby pauses for a second, her ears spread wide like tiny sails. Then, with lumbering grace, she moves on through the grass. There's baby Ruby in her new habitat, safe, just like Ivan promised Stella that he would try to do. It's the last chapter. It's called Silverback. The last chapter? Silverback. It's a cloudy evening, chill and drizzly. Dinner is on its way, but I don't care. At night, we sleep in our den, but I'm always the last to head inside. I've been inside long enough. He was inside all of his time at Big Top Mall. He wants to be outside now. This time of day, there aren't many visitors, just a few stragglers leaning on the wall that separates us. They point, take a couple photos, then head over to the nearby giraffes. One of the keepers is beckoning. Remember, that was one of our words back with Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing, I believe. If you beckon for someone, you call them over. And that's what one of the keepers is doing. Reluctantly, I turn to go. Out of the corner of my eye, I see someone running. I pause. It's a girl with dark hair lugging a backpack. A man follows behind, racing to catch up. Ivan! The girl yells. Ivan! Who is it? Oh, who do you think it is? It's Julia. I scramble to the edge of the wide moat that skirts the wall. So there's a water fencing or a water perimeter around their wall. Julia and George waved to me. I dashed back and forth, hooting and grunting, doing a gorilla dance of happiness. Calm down, says a voice. You're behaving like a chimp. Who would have attitude like that? Who do you think? There's only one animal that could have attitude like that. I freeze. A tiny, nut brown, big-eared head pops out of Julia's backpack. Nice place, Bob says. Bob, I say, it's really you. In the flesh. How? Where? I can't seem to find any words. And there is Julia and Bob waving. George's job at the zoo doesn't start till next month, so he and Julia made an agreement. She's walking 3 extra dogs to cover my food. And get this, they're all poodles, just like Snickers, who Bob was not a big fan of, was he? You said you didn't want a home, I say. Yeah, Bob says, but Julia's mom likes my company, so I figure I'm doing everybody a favor. It's like a win-win. So Bob is kind of saying he's decided to have a home as a favor to George and Julia and Sarah, Julia's mom. Julia pushes Bob's head back inside her backpack. You're not supposed to be here, she reminds him. Ivan looks great, doesn't he, Jules? George asks. Stronger, happier even. Julia holds up a little photo, but it's too far away for me to see. It's Ruby, Ivan. She's with other elephants now, because of you. I want to tell her. I saw with my own eyes. We stare across the expanse that separates us. After a while, George pats Julia's arm. Time to go, Jules. Julia gives a wistful smile. Bye, Ivan. Say hello to your new family. She turns to George. Thank you, Dad. For what? She gestures towards me, Ivan, for this. They turn to leave. The lamps that light the zoo pathways blink on, blanketing the world with yellow light. I can just make out Bob's little head sticking out of Julia's backpack. You are the one and only Ivan, he calls. I nod, then turn toward my family, my life, my home, his new family, his new life, his new home. Mighty Silverback, I whisper. That's how it ends. He made Stella a promise. Did he make that promise come true? Oh, he did. Oh, Stella would be so proud of Ivan. Do you realize what Ivan accomplished by doing that painting and getting people to realize that they needed to be in an actual zoo? Wow. That's it. It leaves me wanting more. Do you want more? If you have not watched the movie, Disney Plus has it for free with the membership to Disney Plus. You can watch The One and Only Ivan on Disney Plus. And starting next week, I will be adding videos of this, the one and only Bob. I'll read just the first chapter, just to give you a taste. The one and only Bob. And this is how it begins. Just like at the beginning of Ivan, we find in this one, he gives us all kinds of definitions of different dog poses and what they mean. Like, let's play and get lost and life's good. Okay, and this is the first chapter, and it's true Bob style. Absolute Bob style. It's called Confession. He says, "Look, nobody's ever accused me of being a good dog. I bark at empty air. I eat cat litter. I roll in garbage to enhance my aroma. I harass innocent squirrels. I hog the couch. I lick myself in the presence of company. I'm no saint, okay?" And there's Bob. And he just tells it the way it is. He's not very tactful, if you remember that word. He's just blunt. He tells it the way it is. And he says, "What? I'm no saint, okay?" And that is Bob's story. So this one we will not read in class, but I will have it posted on the YouTube channel if you are interested in it. There are questions for the finishing of this in Google Classroom. And also, if you have not watched the movie, remember that you need to do that before you come back to class on Monday. Talk to you guys later.